So I like EC3, I like Dakota Kai, I like the fact that TOMMASO CIAMPA took care of KASSIUS OHNO for me, because you guys know what I think about him. What am I not supposed to like on this show? Let's talk about NXT. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check with your May 9th NXT review. I was about to say we're going to go into the house cleaning, but there's not a whole lot. There's just what I typically say. Go check up in the annotation up above. If this is your first time here, check out previous NXT and 205 live reviews. Check out the Off the Cuff series, which is going to have more installments coming soon. Check out the Aftermath series, where most of what happened in the WrestleMania Aftermath video is still relevant, but if you want a more current video, I suggest you go check out my friends Guapo, Kristen, and Monoxide over on Monoxide's channel. They did a post-Greatest Royal Rumble video that's quite entertaining. Shout out to them. Also shout out to Kristen for winning the Backlash pay-per-view Pick 'em. So if nothing else happened at Backlash, and let's be real, that's pretty much true, at least Kristen got a win. Kristen's usually on the bottom of the scorecard like me. I suck at my own game, apparently. But she won for Backlash. There will be more coming soon for Money in the Bank and TakeOver Chicago, which will be good, because apparently Money in the Bank is not only dual branded, it's one of the big four, making it one of the big five. And we're not talking about that right now, are we? We're going to talk... Rusev beat Daniel Bryan. Jesus fucking Christ. Let's talk about NXT. NXT started off tonight with Ricochet, and I love Ricochet's entrance. I have to say that because the very first time I saw Ricochet was at the NXT Mississauga show before he technically debuted, and they had him using sort of generic Rock 8 as his entrance. So I like his thing. I could do without the voiceover, and I'll say the same thing about EC3 in a second too. I could do without the voiceover in the middle. I don't need a voice saying, "One and only 1%. It's like the... back in the day when they brought in Booker T from WCW, and it was just that entrance, and when they brought him to WWE, obviously his music came over too, and they put the voiceover, the "Can you dig it, sucker?" and it's good. I mean, it's branding and it's all that thing. WWE has to take it and make it their own. I get it, but it doesn't need it. His music is good. EC3's, which we're going to get to in a second, has lyrics. So it's a bit different. It fits a bit more. Ricochet's definitely doesn't need it. Also, as the crowd in Full Sail will tell you, Ricochet had shoes with no socks on. So even though he gave a great promo, even though he gave a great sort of first address to the NXT universe, his entire promo was overshot by socks chants, which is wonderful. Came out, talks about everywhere I go, make it my #1 goal to make people remember my name. After WrestleMania weekend, I'm sure everybody in that ladder match knew my name. NXT is all about taking over, so I'm going to take over NXT. Some people call me confident, they call me cocky. I just call myself the one and only Ricochet, which as a moniker is sort of, it's kind of a mouthful. Not the same kind of mouthful that Naomi took to get a job, but it's still a mouthful. It's not the greatest slogan in the world. It's pretty generic, and he says he's only got one thing on his mind, and that's the NXT title, and that should be everybody's focus, shouldn't it? I couldn't get the mid-card title, so fuck it, let's go for the main title. Instead, he's interrupted by Velveteen Dream, which is great, because he came out all condescending and all, you sort of, no, but he said no so many times, the crowd started chanting yes, so for a moment, he wasn't paying attention to Ricochet. You had this banter between Velveteen Dream and the crowd saying no, yes, you know, the whole Daniel Bryan takeover thing. Now, as far as I know, Velveteen Dream, at least on Twitter, is sort of doing the Baron Corbin thing, sort of like, I'm a homegrown guy, you're an indie guy, so I'm going to make fun of all the indie guys. So the fact that the crowd is adopting the Daniel Bryan yes chants, it's an added bit of shit that makes sense for this feud that you couldn't even have planned for. I mean, they could chant anything. They could chant one and only, they could chant Velveteen, but to throw in another indie reference by the crowd is a cool little bit of thing. He asked him, who allowed you out here to ask for a handout title shot? You say you want to take over. All I say is you need to take a step back. I have my qualms with the Velveteen Dream character, but that was fucking funny as shit. You say you're the one and only, and you say you make this look good. There is only one man, there is only one experience, and you're looking at him. You can jump around, you can try to make a name for yourself, but you can flip, flop, and land on the back of the line behind me. They banter. There's not very much else of real importance, but they banter back and forth. You know, I'm gonna put you down. I'm gonna put you down. Ricochet finally steps up, drops the mic, and says, "Prove it." He fakes out the Dream, and the Dream bails. So we're gonna get this. Now, you guys know that have been paying attention to me for a long time. My problem with Velveteen Dream has nothing to do with his ability as a wrestler. Where I may think, you know, his gimmick is a gimmick that's been done before, which it is. Let's be real for a second. He's Prince, just like Shinsuke Nakamura is Michael Jackson, but in the ring, he's fucking great. His match with Aleister Black, fucking great. The whole premise behind it being "say my name" is a little awkward. Sorry, my glasses are doing a thing. Don't bother looking at the screen. We're gonna fix that right up. He fakes out Dream bails. These guys in a feud are going to be great. If they're going to throw in that, you know, product of the Performance Center versus product of the indie scene angle on it, that'll be really good, because NXT is kind of a mix of both. You could really play out that story. You could have other people backing up Velveteen Dream. You could have other people backing up Ricochet. You could have the indie guys back up Ricochet. You know, you could have Gargano and, I don't know, I was going to say Gargano and Ciampa. That's definitely not a thing. Gargano and somebody else. And I think Heavy Machinery are basically a product of the Performance Center, aren't they? So team them up with Velveteen Dream. They wouldn't even necessarily have to turn heel. They could just say, yeah, you know, these guys do come in and they do sort of think they're a little bit of something because they've come from somewhere else. You know, let's represent the PC and join him in that way without actually turning heel. That'd be kind of cool. Long story short, this will probably be at TakeOver Chicago in about 5 weeks. They've got 5 weeks to build it. I'm excited. What I want to say, people compare NXT to Raw and SmackDown all the time because NXT is better. The format is better. All the talent is younger. They're newer, you know, nice shiny new toy and all that sort of thing. But they've only got 1 hour to fill. So we don't get a chance to get sick of them. But one of the main things we always say is that, hey, NXT usually starts with a match. You don't have, you know, a big, long, drawn-out talking segment like you do on Raw and SmackDown. Now, they did that tonight, but I'm willing to give it a pass because it's so rare on NXT, in the context of NXT, that in the context of NXT, I'll say, hey, we hardly ever start with a promo. This is something new for NXT. It's great. They're both great on the mic. I wasn't sure about Ricochet because I've never really seen him in a promo situation. Those of you that have seen him in other places where he was, you know, Prince Panther? Black Panther, no. That's another story for another day. Go back and check out mine and Kristen's review of Black Panther on this channel. Raul Mendoza is the unfortunate sacrificial lamb in the debut match for EC3. EC3 is another one, and I say it once again, the entrance is great. The whole thing where he comes out walking backwards, he does the EC3 on the Tron, and it's all good, and he knows the gimmick. This is a guy that left the original, like, fucked up NXT, went to TNA, used that as his platform to make a name for himself, and brought that name back with him. So I say good for him. First of all, there are a couple of good things that came out of TNA, even though Impact Owl Wrestling, they did the show here in Mississauga, and it was fucking terrible. They're doing another one night only, something or other. It's I promise you guys, it's 15 minutes from my house, the arena, the Don Kolov, Santino Morella's gym, where they're playing host to some of these TNA shows, and I couldn't give a fuck. But there are a couple good things. Those good things are mostly back in WWE now. Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles. I'm sure someday we'll get Kaz and Daniels. I'm sure someday we'll get Sabin and Shelley. James Storm, I've heard, might come back. But EC3 is another one that's just made a name for himself in TNA before the company actually died, and he's fucking good. But side headlock by Mendoza, backdrop by EC3, head scissor by Mendoza, and a springboard drop kick, step over reverse DDT. Now, you guys know I love explaining. Get somebody in a typical DDT position, but instead of dropping it back, fall forward and sweep their leg. So, Dragon Sleeper Rock Bottom? Don't know. They didn't say what it was on commentary either, so I've got no help whatsoever. They trade some punches. There's an alley-oop, snake eyes by EC3, a running knee, and the 1%er, which is the same maneuver as Nikki Bella's Rack Attack 2.0, which makes me smile just a little bit. He cuts a promo after. Basically, I didn't write anything down, but it's basically, EC3 is here, I'm the man, I'm the 1%er. I'm better than all of you, and I'm going to set my sights on gold. I'm going to run NXT, as new guys say. I do love that the NX3 chant is taking off, and there's even NX3 chants or signs up in the crowd tonight, which is good. I like EC3. we'll just forget that Derek Bateman was a thing. Burch and Lorcan are seen in the back after saving Pete Dunne last week on NXT. They want Pete Dunne to be sure that he knows that they don't like him, they think he's a piece of shit, etc., etc., etc. But we have a common enemy. Roddy Raw. It goes as it goes. Without the spirit of Teddy Long, where would we be? We've got a 6-man tag next week. These 3 guys versus the Undisputed Era. We got Burch, we got Lorcan, we've got Pete Dunne taking on Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole. Baby. Dakota Kai versus Vanessa Bourne. Dakota Kai, a.k.a. Bailey done right, but I digress. Taking on Vanessa Bourne. Now, I will say one thing about Vanessa Bourne. I don't care at all. It's one of those. They haven't given her any character for me to care about, really. I mean, I remember her from the Mae Young Classic, but since then she's just kind of been a body, which has been the role Dakota Kai was in, but now she's got a storyline, so she's not being used as just a body, even though her body is fucking damn, she could get it. Vanessa Bourne, love her entrance music, though. I've heard it a couple times now. Love her entrance music. Hate her fucking outfit. She looks like a character that didn't quite make it into a Mortal Kombat movie, which is fine. She's quite able in the ring, don't get me wrong, but Dakota Kai, like I say, I keep saying it because not only is it funny, but it's also really, really true. Nobody gives a fuck about Bayley anymore. I'm just saying, Bayley and Ruby Riott had a great match on the kickoff show for Backlash. I will say that wholeheartedly. And Bayley, what she can do in the ring is great. But as far as her character transitioning from NXT to WWE, it just doesn't. And Dakota Kai, especially with this thing that she's got going with Shayna Baszler, which we're going to talk about in a second, Dakota Kai is owning that role right now. And she's going to snatch that role up from Bayley. And Bayley's going to be left with nothing. Oh, yes, my prediction will come true. But let's talk about Dakota Kai versus Vanessa Bourne. Like I say, Mortal Kombat reject, collar and elbow tie, and a headlock by Bourne, drop kick by Kai, headbutt by Bourne, and a takedown and some forearms to the back, which look not only awkward but painful as well. Spinning backbreaker by Bourne and a surfboard with a posted knee. Series of kicks by Kai, which is where the commentators go on to tell us that she is the master of team kick, which is a gimmick that could get old really fast. But series of kicks into the corner, hits a haluva kick, and then what I can only describe as a haluva knee for the win. But it's not for the win because she gets her, she runs at her, and I literally wrote she hits her with a what the fuck. And the only way I can say it is she almost went up and over her. It looked like it was going to be a head scissor. It looked like it was going to be a sunset flip, and it ended up being almost an inverted code breaker. So all I can say, and I know I say this a lot about a lot of moves that don't have names, go back and watch the match. Tell me what the fuck I should call that. I'm reaching out to you guys. Once again, as you know I do. Dakota Kai gets the win. Shayna Baszler comes down, stares the fuck out of Kai. Never takes her eyes off Dakota Kai, even when she turns her attention to Vanessa Bourne, because her beatdown and submission of Vanessa Bourne is entirely a message to Dakota Kai, which is fucking great. Coming back from commercial break, we got Dakota Kai being interviewed. The interviewer wants to focus on Dakota Kai's win, but she's scared shitless. She gets stared down by Baszler once again, who walks off. And then you hear maniacal laughing in the background, and the camera slowly pans over to the forgotten daughter of Sanity, Nikki fucking Cross, hanging on the rafters, just laughing her ass off at Dakota Kai. And I'm sorry, for this particular moment, I know titles matter, but for this particular moment, get rid of Shayna Baszler, get rid of the NXT Women's Championship, pay-per-view, takeover. We can have 2 women's matches. You'll be fine. Give me Dakota Kai versus Nikki fucking Cross, and I'm in. That's all you need to sell me on the pay-per-view. I don't care what the rest of the match... I do care what the rest of the matches are, let's be real for a second. But that's a match I want to see, because it's... I'm going to say it. I'm going to drill it into the ground. Dakota Kai is Bayley done right. Nikki Cross has had some success in NXT, but she's always sort of been in the shadow of the rest of Sanity. Her being left behind in NXT needs to end up in a push for her. The first step of that is unfortunately going to be destroying Dakota Kai. Give it to me. Listen to what I'm saying. Let me book your show. Sorry, sound like goofball from New York there for a second. Heavy Machinery versus the War Raiders was just 4 big wrecking balls running into each other, but Otis and Rowe trade punches, and there's a 4-man brawl that follows. Referee sort of disperses it out. High knee and a corner splash by Hansen. Rowe Irish whips Hansen into Otis using his own partner as a weapon, which is great. Tandem kitchen sinks by Rowe and Hansen. Deadlift overhead suplex by Otis. Otis Dozovic, he's a funny guy. Heavy Machinery is a funny team, but Otis Dozovic is not somebody I would want to fuck with. Rowe and Knight trade punches for a while in a dropkick and a hip toss by Knight. Fucking suicide dive by Hansen, who by my count is the biggest dude in the ring. He is taking over that flying big dude spot from Killian Dane. No wonder they sent Sanity and Authors of Pain up to the main roster. Can you imagine if we had Sanity, Authors of Pain, Heavy Machinery, and the War Raiders in one tag team division? They would have to reinforce the ring, as the tired old expression goes. High knee by Rowe and the Fallout, which is apparently that side slam leg drop combination by the Road Warriors, not the Road Warriors, the War Raiders, which is a dumb name, but NXT does that sometimes. They get the win. Obviously, it's their first real match that's not against a jobber team. We get a hype package for the Street Profits, who are kind of ticked off that TM Nobody Gives a Fuck cheated to beat them last week, but they are hyped up. They're doing all their workouts in the streets, in the ghetto, in the basketball court, etc. They rip off a piece of a chain in the park for reasons, and they say they want those tag team titles, which is awesome. Tommaso Ciampa versus Kassius Ohno. Now, first and foremost, Kassius Ohno is the Roman Reigns of NXT. You can try as much as you want to make me give a shit about him. Currently, they're buddying him up with Johnny Gargano. I'm fighting for the rights of Johnny Gargano and his wife, poor Candice LeRae, so this makes me a good guy, and people are going to cheer for me. No, you're still an awkward as fuck dude with a character that I don't care about, and he does good in this match. And I feel like I say this a lot on NXT. There's just certain characters that I don't care about. You can turn me around. Go back into my old videos, see what I used to say about Andrade Cien Almas. Called him Mr. Strippergram, called him, this is dumb. You've got a wrestler whose gimmick is that he doesn't care about wrestling. Turn him around, give him Zelina Vega, give him a title reign, send him up to the main roster eventually. And it's all good. Andrade Cien Almas is one of the things I'm most looking forward to on SmackDown now from a guy that I couldn't give a shit about. Please do something if you want me to give a shit about Kassius Ohno, but right now, it's a cheap little ploy. Everybody loves Gargano, so let's rub up Kassius Ohno against Johnny Gargano. Let's just say that they're buddies and they're pals, and it's part of the storyline between Gargano and Ciampa, which it really isn't. And we're going to get some cheers, and you're going to try and make Spaz care just a little bit about Kassius Ohno. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. I love Ciampa's silent entrance. It's great. This is the kind of thing that I guess they were trying to do with Ziggler a while ago, where his gimmick was that he had no gimmick. But, people actually care about Ciampa. No offense to Ziggler, but the whole, flashy guy's not going to be flashy is not the same as the hate that Ciampa gets here. His eye... I mean, they show his leg, and his leg's kind of fucked up too. One of his arms is kind of fucked up. His eye is fucked. His one whole eyeball is red. The entire expanse of the eye orbit is all fucked up and purple and black and whatever the case may be. And Kassius Ohno knows it, because that's the focus of the whole fucking match. Kassius Ohno is supposed to be the babyface, by the way. So watch some of his tactics in this match. You wouldn't know it, would you? Collar and elbow tie and punches to the eye immediately by Ohno. Wrecking ball dropkick by Ohno to the eye. Corner beatdown and a mud hole stomp by Ciampa. Suplex by Ohno. Stomps to the face by Ciampa. Anything you can do, I can do better. You want to go for my face? I will go for your face. Ciampa rakes the nose and eyes of Ohno. Ciampa rips Ohno's head off with a side headlock. And I don't just mean he rips him off with a headlock. He has him in a headlock so deep that he picks him up, puts him down, picks him up, puts him down, drags him around the ring. He's never stationary. It's not like he just grounds him and stays there. He drags him around the ring by his fucking head. It's great. Cravat and high knees by Ciampa. Uppercut by Ohno. Bicycle kick by Ohno. Boot and stands on Ciampa's face. Nice camera work. Close up, the whole fucking deal. Mauro Ranallo. I give Mauro Ranallo a lot of credit. I like Mauro Ranallo on commentary, pairing him up with Nigel McGuinness, putting him on NXT instead of SmackDown with JBL. All good things. He wants to tell a great, fantastic story, and he's way over the top. Here's the deal. You have to have bias as a commentator, because you have to underline who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. The way he applauds Kassius Ohno for his actions in the ring when they're so similar to what Ciampa's doing in the ring, it chips away, and I mean this in the slightest of ways. Please let me be clear on that. It chips away at the credibility a little bit. It's like, okay, now you're just playing up, straight up being biased, double standard Jones. I mean, it's 2018. Double Standard Jones is kind of the standard. But that's a whole social political conversation that we could have another day, isn't it? Oh yes. Check out my Twitter. Everybody loves me. Bicycle kick by Ono. Boot, and he stands on Ciampa's face. Knee drop to the face. Exposed knee drop to the face. Cravat. And again, the atomic drops in the knees to the face. Once again, boot and another boot. Forearm by Ciampa. And he digs away at the eye of Ono, who's been working on his face the whole match. But again, Mauro Ranallo on commentary says it's like the worst thing in the world. Boots by Ono. Running knee to the back of the head by Ciampa. I would call it a Shining Wizard, but he cold cocked him in the back, blindsided him with a Shining Wizard, and the commentators get some of their credibility back by saying not only is that a Shining Wizard, which is a fucking fantastic maneuver, he did it from behind, Ono had no way to brace himself, and speaking of brace, haha, these puns don't write themselves, he's got a knee brace on his knee. It's fucking good. Boot by Ono, running knee from behind by Ciampa. I just read that line, didn't I? Lariat by Ciampa, and a face-first neckbreaker is a little bit of an anticlimactic finish, but Ciampa gets the win. After the victory, he starts screaming about Johnny Gargano, screaming to Gargano and to Ono, I guess, screaming stuff like, is it worth it? You know, it's never going to be over. I'm going to break you just like I broke Johnny, just like I broke Candice's heart. Takes his knee brace off, beats Ono down with the brace, and then puts Ono in the crossface with the brace, just like Johnny Gargano did to him at TakeOver. The beatdown was great, the victory was great, the match was great, the symbolism is fucking fantastic. How Ciampa is wrestling with his face all mangled like it is, I will never ever understand. But this was a fucking fantastic episode of NXT. And yes, I'm going to be one of those guys that tells you how great NXT is and how the main roster doesn't measure up. Because guess what? It was that great, and the main roster doesn't measure up. I got to see Ciampa destroy Ono. Like I said, I got the beginnings of Velveteen Dream versus Ricochet. I got a great story between Dakota Kai and Shayna Baszler, which may side street to Dakota Kai versus Nikki Cross, which is great. I got to see a Wrecking Ball tag team match. EC3 is back on my television. Everybody fucking wins. And next week we get to see, like I say, Danny Burch, Oney Lorcan, Pete Dunne taking on the Undisputed Era, headed up by Adam Cole, baby. It's all good in the NXT neighborhood. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.
So shine, it's gonna freak like me.